Digital deceiver shadows live in the mix. White socks. We don't chase clout, we chase truth. Now let's go. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for being here. I hope you guys had a great Monday evening and Tuesday. Good morning to my mods. I see you. And, well, you know, Mr. was off yesterday, so you know I'm going to have a good day. Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, watching some scammers, watching some of their nonsense. So I have some information I want to share with you guys regarding the community guidelines. I think it's important that we know what they are. And there were some very interesting things that I was able to get from a summary of them that I think might help us when it comes to reporting. So please stick around for that. I'm going to do that around the middle. So let me show you today's grid. Today's grid is Kodie, because of course there was a holiday, so there was a return. Tim and Angela, Kristina, and some things I have to say about that. Of course, Karla. I'm going to discuss Becky, hopefully for the last time. Some of the things that were made clear about Rachel from somebody who she was close to, and Sheena, because in her little mini crash out, she seemed to not understand why in a space where there are millions of people doing the same thing she is in terms of battling and asking for gifts, why people have a problem with her in particular. So I thought I'd answer her question from my perspective and to remind her that I've gone nowhere. Oh, Mandy, the list goes on. It's just a matter of who I decide to pay attention to at the time. So as I said, I have a Raising the Consciousness, which is related to the community guidelines. And I'm going to have a part 2 probably on Friday about it. And then, of course, I got to do some DDS thoughts. But first, I want to say I thank everybody for their support and their understanding. It's not easy to do what we do, and to have the support of people who don't know you from Adam is amazing. And I want you to know that it did not go unnoticed. Because in times of discouragement, when you know that there are people who care for you, who want you to be in the space, it really does make the difference, because there's so much noise that sometimes you forget that you do have a community. So, who do I want to I'm going to start with Kodie, because why not? Thank you, Rochester. I appreciate you saying so. So we know that I call Kodie the dry begging queen of TikTok. And she came on the 3rd, right before. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you, Granny Annie. If you're a member of the team, hit the Daily Heart Me. If not, stick around. If you like what you hear, hit the Daily Heart Me. Gifts are appreciated but not expected. I would do this regardless. And please tap the screen every time I change a photo so that we can end up on the For You feed and we can prevent the live from being taken down. TikTok is being really shady. I'm just going to tell you this story real quick. So, there was a woman who made a video. Somebody was racist in the comments. So she put the comment up in her next video to expose it. She didn't expose the words he said, or I should say the word, but she just was like, why would you do this? And he called her fat and everything else. So she then did a second, or in the second part of the video, was where he responded to her again with the N word with the hard ER. Anyway, I reposted it from one of my accounts, right? Okay, I'll show the grid again while I'm talking. I reposted it from one of my accounts. And then when I went back to the account, I had a restriction or like a warning. And I'm like, what did I get a warning for? None of the posts are bad. I haven't ever gone live on this account. TikTok gave me a violation warning because I reposted a video that was on TikTok. And I'm trying to understand TikTok. If I see the video, then my assumption is that it fits the community guidelines. How do I get a secondary warning on a video you later decide wasn't accurate or wasn't right or didn't fit within your community guidelines? I think that this switch over, there's going to be glitches with every switch over. Just the bottom line. And I think perhaps their AI is set to oversensitive. Thank you, Kat. And it's going overboard. Because how am I supposed to know that a video is breaking community guidelines because I've reposted it? But you gotta love how that got a violation, but not the comments. Yeah, she is. Okay, hope everybody got a chance to see the grid while I told that little story. Okay, so on the 3rd, was Easter the 4th or the 5th? Let me see. It was the 5th. Well, she may have gotten on at other times, but on the 3rd is when I caught her. And she wanted everybody to know that Easter was coming. Thank you, guys. Easter was coming. And she started to let everybody know what she had and what she didn't have for the kids and for the dinner. She described the kids having problems at school, but she wanted everybody, good morning, Jama. I'm glad you're back. Wait, last night what? Yeah, Jama. TikTok is, I don't know. But anyway, even though she was having problems and Easter was coming, she wanted everybody to know that she got a ring light. And don't get me wrong, when I first got my ring light, I was excited too. But she wanted everybody to know that they created an Easter Amazon wish list. Ma'am, Easter Amazon wish list? Does she then send it out to everybody? Because I'm so confused. Dress the kids up the best way you can if you took them to church or took pictures or whatever. But then she didn't end there. She wanted everybody to remember that she also has a regular Amazon wish list. Sweetheart, it is not everybody else's responsibility to provide for the things you want for your children. It's just not. Probably Schindler. I didn't even bother to look. But it didn't end there because she came back on the 6th. So now this is after Easter. And she doesn't really go live at home anymore because I think some of the things that happen at home that she can't control, she doesn't want to affect her TikTok. So she's usually live while she's walking. Although now that she has her ring light, she plans to do more at home. She described suffering from depression. And I feel bad for that because depression can be debilitating. And when you have a household that literally relies on your every move, you don't get to collapse and get in the fetal position or take 2 weeks off to deal with it. You kind of got to deal with it and everything else. And I know at one time she wasn't taking any medication, and of course that's her choice. But I honestly hope that she is in some sort of treatment or care plan or has a strategy for how to deal with it when it gets so much worse. Because depression isn't a good place to live. But depression also doesn't end because there's a holiday, a birthday, a special occasion. Depression is just there. And she described what a great holiday they had, that the kids each got Easter baskets. And they did their thing on Easter, but now her phone bill is due. Where are the priorities? Because you cry about how you need your phone so your daughter can get in touch with you, doctors, the school, etc. And she claims she forgot to pay it. That's irresponsible. Nikki, so do I. But that's irresponsible because that means that you were focused on creating this holiday that the parts that you did aren't even what the holiday is supposed to be about. You made sure they had Easter baskets. You could have compromised, got one basket, got the candy or whatever you wanted to put in there, and let everybody take a little baggie, or you could have made it cute. And also reasonable so that your children didn't go without, but now you don't have to come to TikTok to say your cell phone bill is getting ready to get cut off. I don't understand how they get to make whatever decision they want. And then TikTok has to step up to be responsible for them. Oh, that's been who said that? Sunny, that's been a couple of years in a row. She does it for Christmas. Last year it was the Sweet 16. Then another time it was birthdays. All of them. And unfortunately, and I keep saying it, in this particular economy, people don't have it. But remember that she couldn't work because she needed to be available to her daughter 24/7. And now the daughter isn't there, and I'm hoping where she is safe and she's gaining the skills she needs. So Kodie no longer had that as an excuse. So she said she was going back to get her GED so that wasn't a barrier to her getting a job. I applaud it. I applaud it. But now she's saying that because her son skipped school, she has to go with him everywhere. Why? At his age, you need to follow him around? What are you going to do when he turns 18? But for me, it sounds like, see, I have another troubled child and I can't work because I'm going to have to be with him everywhere because he skipped school. Let me tell y'all something. And again, I realized I was raised in a different era. But the only time I skipped school in high school was senior skip day. And I like to say that I was a goody two shoes, but I was just afraid of my mama. I told them today's senior skip day, none of the seniors go to school. And let me tell you how that backfired. I wish I had gone to school because my parents didn't let me leave the house until it was time for me to go to work. So I might as well have went to school. But I promise you, if I had skipped a different day and my parents found out, you think my mother or father are going to stop working to follow me from A, B, C? No, absolutely not. That would have never been their answer. I was going to straighten up or there were going to be consequences. If the only mechanism of control that you have over your children is that you have to be there from point A to Z, you're already losing the battle, my dear. You're already losing the battle. Because as they age and they get a little bit more testosterone, and the whole world is telling them they're an adult while they still live in your home and eat off of what you provide, they're going to buck you because that's just the nature of the beast. Granny Annie, I know that's right. You have to stop tolerating the behavior. But then I go back to, was this all so that she had an excuse for why she couldn't get a job again? Because the daughter excuse ended last year. And we're still just walking around from one place to another while we're alive. Now, don't get me wrong. She actually is doing something. But it's time to stop relying on the kindness of others when there are things you can do. If you have back pain and it prevents you from working, get the documentation together so you can get disability. Now, getting disability isn't easy. Get in with doctors, figure out if there's something you could do. Find out through a disability services if there's a job that will allow you to sit when necessary and stand when necessary. Take the bull by the horns. But something has to be done other than an Amazon wish list every time you want something. And your kids need to learn some respect. Good morning to everybody that's come in. It's a lot of y'all, so I'm going to show you the grid one more time. We just did Kodie. We have Tim and Angela, Kristina, Karla, Becky, Rachel, and Sheena. We might as well follow the list and go to Tim and Angela. They have changed their name and their act. So please take note of it. Sorry, guys, I'm looking for my notes. Okay, here they are. I'm going to be honest, and this makes no sense, but as he described his success in finding a job, finding one that paid him weekly, I felt like a proud mama. I really did. And it doesn't make any sense as to why I would feel that way. I had absolutely no hand in their success. But I felt like a proud mama because he did it. He did it. But as I always say, if you beg on TikTok, the grid is always open. Now he says that they needed food until he got paid on Friday. And he says the reason why is because as soon as he got the job, he let EBT know and they told him they were cutting him off, which I find ridiculous. It's like the woman who makes $10 too much can't get it, as if $10 would feed herself, forget about having children. Expecting somebody to have enough money for all their expenses based on their very first paycheck, I find to be rude and inconsiderate. Let them get established for 1 month. But that's not how the rules work. And apparently, according to him, as soon as he announced it, they told him he wouldn't be getting any food stamps for the following month. Now, he said he went to, what is it called, blessing boxes? And he went to a couple of churches, but that the pickings were thin. Of course they were. Do you know how expensive food is now? For everybody? Wait, what? He has shows paycheck stub first. Oh, he has to show it first? Oh, so he might not be telling the truth about EBT. Wow. See, just when you get proud and you want to praise, you realize, or figure out that it's not all that it's cracked up to be. But we know that everything is going to be framed in a way, because he wanted to make a point that he went to EBT because he was honest, even though we think he isn't. But if you manipulate the story in a way that makes it seem like you've done the right thing, and so therefore you ended up in these circumstances, that's manipulation. That's not telling the truth. That's manipulating people into giving you what you want. How is that right? And I can understand that she's probably gone a long time without having to buy makeup. And maybe he thought, let me brighten her day. But again, how old do people have to be before they become responsible? Buying her a lipstick is one thing. Taking her into Sephora or Walmart or Target or Ulta and saying, I'm going to spend $100. Get whatever you want. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's what's happened. But again, it's about priorities. And when people know that they can come to TikTok like they're going to an ATM of unlimited money, they fail to be as responsible as they could be. Because he knew, or should have known, that the food they had wasn't going to extend until his second or third paycheck. I don't know which one they're on, but it's at least the second. And so to wait until it's time to go look in blessing boxes instead of having preemptively gone to food pantries, again, even though they're slim pickings, is wild to me. But to then spend money on something that's unnecessary, like where is she going? Does she needs her makeup done every day? And I've heard word various times that she was getting a work from home job. Has she? And again, now they're going to look for housing they can afford. I hope they find it. And you want to know one of the other reasons why I want them to be successful? Wait, let me go a step backwards. You know how I always say part of the scammers' problem is that they're so braggadocious about every little thing they do? They do not move in silence ever. So he's already revealed that he's paid weekly. He's already revealed that he could get about $1,800 a month. Do you not I mean a week? Do you not realize that people can use that information to try to pinpoint where you are? But he cannot help himself. He said he wasn't going to tell us anything about the job. He wasn't going to mention it. But being braggadocious, being prideful for a blessing is right before the fall. Stop talking, sir. Now, they're supposed to be looking for housing. I don't even know what point I was going to make because I done got myself all wound up about how he'll want to say that it was us that researched him and tried to find him and all of that, while you leave breadcrumbs of information to lead people to know where you are, to find you, to find out where you work. Stop talking. That's my biggest piece of advice. Stop talking. You want to go and have a live where you chill out with your friends, then do that. But to feel like, oh, we have a problem, let's go to TikTok's ATM. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I am hoping that they get enough success that they're able to get their own place and have to pay all of their own bills. You want to know why I want that? Because I want them, especially in this economy, to understand just how blessed they were, that they were able to keep getting money from people day in and day out. I want them to get to the end of the month, every month, and then find money to give to somebody else on TikTok in need. Or are they going to say, we're strapped? Or I can give it to you, but you are borrowing it. I need you to pay me back. And then not get paid back. See, it's real easy to sit in your seat you're sitting in and have all of these opinions. Let's see how you feel when it's you, when it's yours. The new account name is Hey, it's Tim and Angela in all caps. And the at is Hey, it's TNA. Now, if you put in Tim and Angela, most of the time, their account will come up. But you know what I always say? Yes, truth, I did hear that. Oh, yeah, everybody's going to know where they are. It doesn't matter that you changed your name. I guess maybe they changed their name because it's a new you. And again, I'm all for it. I encourage it. My goal is to stop people from being taken advantage of. In the background of that is that these people get their lives together so that when they spend time on TikTok, it's not about asking people for money. It's about actually utilizing the app for its intention. You'll have a whole lot more fun on TikTok if you're just here to spend time with your friends rather than shaking them down for your daily needs. Because again, lipstick optional. Eating out optional. Having groceries necessary. Now I know Tim and Angela are old enough to know this, but when you're about to buy something, ask yourself, optional or necessary? for everything you need. And until everything on the absolute has to have side is met, then you can look at the optional side. I don't want anybody off of TikTok unless they are vile human beings. I don't want to see any harm come to them. I don't want their mental health to be degraded. I want them to take responsibility for their own lives, take care of themselves. And when they get to a good place, that they give back. Now, he also said yesterday in his first live, I don't know about the second, that he would still pay the women back that he promised a while ago. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'll be watching to hear if they get paid back. Because while it's not a necessity, it is more important than the optional. Why, you may ask? Because A, he made a promise, B, he lied about it, and C, if you want to be seen as a good, hardworking, honest, God-fearing man, you'll stick to your word. Somebody's comment got filtered. I don't know why. Oh, Viola, yeah, of course. He now has a paycheck to wager with. Heaven, no, but if there's time at the end, I'll let anybody come up to talk about her. All I know about Windwalker is she now has her daughter with her. I don't even know where her husband is, boyfriend, whatever it is, and that she has semi-regularly begged for stuff off of TikTok for her daughter, even though we know that in many places, including Georgia, there are resources for people who are um, below a certain poverty guideline that can help you with things. It just may not be the one you want. And most places now also have a thrift store for children. She's another one that's braggadocious. Look at me now. I got my hotel paid for. I don't have to ask anybody for money. 5 minutes later, asking people for money for her daughter. So that's all I know. Her live yesterday was wild. Okay, well, please stick around. There's time at the end. Let me know. Because she's somebody I covered heavily at one point. Yeah, well, that's her. Did I see Maggie was in Yazzy's box encouraging her to sue the haters? Girl, why don't you encourage her instead of suing somebody to finish school? Finish school. You want to give her some advice? Tell her to get her act together, go home, listen to her mother, and finish school so that she can have whatever future she wants. Maggie, why don't you sue your haters? Love how they could tell other people how they should handle it when they're not handling themselves that way. Missing the complete point. And let's be clear, we're not Yazzy's haters. She has some, but they aren't us. We are worried about that young girl. We see her heading down a path that may be so dangerous that she might not make it to 25, to 20. And you're worrying about her suing somebody? Great priorities, Maggie. Now, on the topic of Maggie, while we're at it, her mod, Not Easily Broken, decided to give us a report card. Only on 4 of us. All for One, she called All for Nothing. Digital Deceiver Shadow DDS. Skittles the Assistant. And Dr. Dre, I'm not even going to say the rest. And she gave us F's across the board. She even added a box for notes about what things she found deplorable about each of us. And then we got a final grade of F. I'm not even worried about the spelling errors. And so as I paid attention to mine, I said, I accept the Fs. Thank you. I accept them all. Because this is what I think of them. Do I know what awareness is, what it means? Yes, and I feel completely fulfilled in my role. Are we stopping the beg? It has been fruitful. Absolutely been fruitful. Do people come back and beg? Yes. Are people going to always beg? Yes. But I know for a fact that we have saved many, many people from getting their money taken either at all or further. So yes, our efforts have been fruitful. Have we made the beggars leave TikTok? Fortunately not. I don't want anybody to have to leave TikTok unless they're there doing vile, disgusting things. Getting them off TikTok isn't my goal. My goal is to utilize TikTok in the way it was meant and not as an ATM for your needs. So fortunately, no, nobody's left TikTok, although we know some have, like, let's be honest, but she wouldn't know that. And then the next one was stopping them from getting gifts. What I do, what we do is forceful. So again, I'll take that F. And then she had to point out that I get $1.60 an hour. So that must mean that I'm flourishing. I am building my $1 million home on the beach in Miami. With my $1.60 an hour. Appreciate it. But I'm flourishing. And then finally, my final grade, my overall grade is an F. And for that, it stands for fabulous. I'm doing great. So yes, not easily broken. I accept every single one of your Fs. Because while you thought you were dragging somebody with this petty nonsense. I chose to make it fit for me. Now, for people who aren't sure, Not Easily Broken is a mod for Maggie. But you might wonder, why is this happening now? And this is honestly what I think is happening. Maggie has less supporters financially than she has in the past. Now, some of that is people have gotten tired of it because, again, Maggie isn't asking for food because she has none or has no access to food. She's asking for events and Ubers and DoorDash in a way that most of the people who are sending her $5 can't even afford themselves. Hers are not necessities. They're desires, they're wishes, but they're not necessities. And so people have either gotten tired of it, they've decided that they've reached their financial limit, whatever the case may be. They're not sending in like they used to. And so that, it was easy when you had 100 people giving $5 for something she wanted for $500. All you had to do was put in $5. But now there are so few people giving on a regular basis that now 5 people have to come up with $100 for the $500 that she needs. And that has to be an extreme amount of pressure on Maggie's fam. So what do? You try to lash out at the people who are saying something isn't right here. It's not fair. Literally, people can come into her live and say hello to her, and her very first response is, when are you going to send in? Not a hello back, not a how are you, not a what's going on in your life. She doesn't care. So keep hollering for Maggie, because clearly the dog's been hit. And the fact that you guys have to keep coming up with money because the well is running dry, it's not a dead well. There's still trickles, but it certainly isn't what it used to be. And I'm at peace with that. Who's next? Let's talk Karla. So Karla too is struggling. And she's suffering from mendicancy, which is the choice to remain impoverished when you don't have to be. Uh, Hold on, puzzle piece. Especially when you are able bodied to work. Now, that's her name and that's her at. I would implore you to go down this rabbit hole a little bit and just look at her old videos. Because the distress by which she is speaking now, years later, should be a red flag to her that something about what she's doing isn't right. People need to stop lying and telling her that it's preparing her for something. As if she's going to be a leader that God is going to choose to teach us what? To learn how to live with poverty? If you haven't learned that lesson in 4-5 years, how much more do you need? About to call her Rachel. Karla. But it's the same story with her for years. She's following God's path. God doesn't want her to work because it's never worked out. But this lifestyle hasn't worked out for you either. So she's sitting in the lobby of another hotel, which I later learned, based on what she said, was actually a motel. And that tells you that the financial assistance she was getting is fading, because she felt like she couldn't be in a motel, that it was a hotel, Airbnb, or nothing. And she's eating their breakfast. And one of her supporters came in to describe that she was having eye pain. And Karla suggested to her that she pray, which I agree with wholeheartedly. And then Karla's suggestion was, if it's that bad, don't go to work. Ain't that convenient to say? Don't go to work. Do you know this girl's bills? And this is my thing. It wasn't don't go to work and seek medical attention. It was don't go to work. Now, do I believe in spiritual warfare? I do. Do I believe those who believe in Christ are under attack? I do. But not every illness is a spiritual attack. Some of it is age. Some of it's what we do with our bodies. Sometimes it requires a pill or a procedure. It's a red flag to me to make everything about the spiritual realm. You're just getting older. And for her friend, it should be a red flag that that was her suggestion. Oh, thank you, Benny Very. I can't wait to see the bingo card today. But for someone who chooses not to work, that's an easy statement to make. But then says, I don't know what God is doing with my life. Now, she says things like, if I could just get a few nights, like 2 or 3 covered, I would be able to rest. And then what? People have been paying for your hotel room for several years. How much more rest do you need? And this whole thing about being, what does she call herself? Like a spiritual nomad? You wouldn't have to get on TikTok and cry if God thought this is what he wanted you to do. You wouldn't have to beg. But this is the lifestyle she wants. And when you take the vow of poverty, you don't get to live in a 5-star hotel while claiming poverty, while making the choice to give your life over to God, which also doesn't mean you don't work. We went through this on Monday, and by the way, I'll have that live up by today. It is sacrilege to not want to work when you can. And again, how did she miraculously end up back in Nashville when she said it was the most godless place on the planet and she needed to get out of there? One of the things I didn't say the other day was that there are people who, for religious reasons, who were convicted of other things under a spiritual attack, were sent to prison. Look it up in Russia. And people couldn't understand why they had smiles on their face. And when interviewed, they said, I have a smile on my face because without being sentenced to prison, there's no way that I could have reached them and explained the Bible. They weren't crying and begging people. They saw it as the opportunity to expand God's word and people who may have no connection whatsoever. She talks about after ministering to people all day, she's exhausted. Praying for 2 people makes you exhausted? No, the truth of the matter is she said everything going on in her head makes her exhausted. She's waiting for God to give her this sign or take her out of these circumstances. You have to give God something to bless, my dear. Uh-oh. White Sox is saying good morning, which isn't a good thing. Okay. You went to eat. Thank you. And then she said it's been so exhausting she wants to give up. Give up on what? God or yourself? Because neither one of those are a viable option. And she hasn't stopped to think, maybe this isn't what God wants me to do. Maybe he wants me to do it, but take care of myself as well. Because how are you going to be of any use to God if you're sick, if you're downtrodden, if you don't know where you're going to sleep that night, if your cell phone bill's going to get cut off? So someone brought up her family and she said she can't go home to dad because he's abusive, and she can't go home to mom because mom is now getting a divorce, so she's in a financial bind, and she doesn't feel safe around her stepfather. Could this be the moment that you need to step up for your mom because of what she's going through? Could your mom use some encouragement? Some of your spiritual gifts to get her through it? Nah. Mom can't give her any money, so why would she bother? And then she said the funniest thing. She said that she thinks that because she makes posts and goes live on TikTok, that she would get donations like that. Girl, what? Do you know? Just because, and this is the thing, she used to, when she spoke about spiritual things online on a regular basis, based on the old way that TikTok had people in the creator fund, she was getting paid. But they updated how they were going to pay out the creator fund. And again, instead of adjusting to the new way of things, she's crying that TikTok isn't paying her. So you need to give her the money. Why don't you do any research about how to make money on TikTok? How to get your videos and your lives so you're back in the creator fund. And then do your thing. But no, that's not what she wants to do. Then this is another thing, and this is why I can't stand holy rollers. So she tried to say that it is, what does she call it? Miracles from God. When the money is returned to her from hotels based on the incidentals. And I think the deposits. Girl, that's not a miracle. That's just how it works. Thank you, Squeakies. I appreciate it. It's just how it works. There's no miracle behind that. But that's how you keep spiritual people wound up, by attaching everything to God. But if there were miracles happening, you wouldn't have to be on here crying. You just wouldn't. You would be able to live in your faith. And that's the other thing. After all of these years of God blessing her with with a lifestyle of choice, why is it every time I turn around, you're starting to wane in your faith about this purpose God has chosen for you? You've eventually eaten. You've eventually gotten into a hotel. Someone who chooses spirituality over wealth doesn't get upset when it doesn't work out the way they want to. And of course, she was so exhausted because people were outside her motel room door and kept her awake all night. Karla, my suggestion is that you start reevaluating some of your choices because they don't seem to be working out for you. and dig a little deeper in the Bible, because if you did, the Bible would tell you that you not working by choice isn't something that God would bless. Not in these circumstances. I'm sorry. How are you going to give spiritual gifts to anybody else when you aren't even healthy according to you? But she's going to keep asking for money because or donations, because that's easier than putting herself out there. And my question is, how do you expect to be successful without playing the game? And what I mean by that is, if she thinks social media is what God wants her to do, then why don't you do it unless you need money? How do you expect TikTok to generate the amount of income you want or that you need so you can preach God's word if you don't put in the time to make sure that it happens? It doesn't make sense. And you know what I say? If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true. Shout out to Judge Judy. And let me make this clear again. I'm not a hater. This isn't coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of life. I've lived enough life to know enough to be able to see something and say something. You don't have to believe me. Just try it for yourself. And for everybody who isn't familiar with her, please do a little digging. Watch a few lives and determine if what I'm saying rings true, especially if you have a spiritual basis by which you live your life. I don't even care what the religion is, but just compare what she says and what she does with what you know to believe is proper, and tell me if she makes sense to you. And by the way, she's rejected all organized religion. Are you trying to start your own church? Okay. Who's next? Wait a minute. Okay. Let's do Becky real quick. We all know Becky to be okay and comfortable with vile behavior in her own household. She accepts the disrespect not only from her husband, not only for her child, the oldest, the adult in the room, who is her husband's stepson, but her baby, who I guess is turning 16 soon. Now, if people are unfamiliar, she had old accounts that she begged on in the back in the day, and she decided to come back and try to rebrand herself, even though she was begging again, just under a different account name. And at that time, she was begging for, I think it was the car, if I'm not mistaken, that there was no air conditioning and all of that. And it looks like she sits home and gets a check. Her husband gets a check. it's not enough. And at that time, her oldest son wasn't even working, but you were taking him everywhere in that car. She refused to take an Uber, and she was like, why would I take an Uber when I own a car? Because when the car isn't working, you take an Uber. So you go where you have to. You don't make it other people's responsibility to fix your car for you. And so I was having, and y'all know, I do not get disrespectful in anybody's box. Because to me, that's counterproductive. But we're having a conversation, and her child, the minor child that's about to turn 16, used the N-word towards me. And when I reacted and asked Becky to react, she giggled a little bit because she actually thinks it's funny. See, you can tell when something is happening in somebody's household. There was no, don't say that. That's inappropriate. No, none of that. She actually got a little glee out of it and has been ever since. She doesn't care how it makes her look on TikTok because she doesn't have any self-respect. Because if she did, that child wouldn't speak to her that way. So why should I expect that she would hold any space for the respect of anybody else other than the people she deems worthy? She tries to tell the people she battles with, especially people of color, that she's a good person. Why do you have to say that, my dear? And why are you afraid of people getting in a box with the person you're battling to offer points? But every time I turn around, you're battling a person of color. So at one point, I think it was Jama, but don't quote me on that, asked why she called her grandchildren, which is her husband's grandchildren, colored. She called them colored. That's not bad enough. When someone said, why do you do that? She said, because they're half white, half black. What would I call them? If that's not some of the most racist nonsense I've heard. She says it because it makes her feel better. It makes her feel superior. Because why else? You're being told by people by people who look like her and people who look like me that that's inappropriate. But instead of having any growth, any understanding, any form of care or concern, she doubles down. Becky has never acknowledged or apologized for any of the behavior. And she, in fact, allows it to keep happening. I don't even understand why she battles, but I guess the change she manages to get, she appreciates. But my question is this, or I should say, what I don't understand, is for someone who has lacked any accountability, hasn't acknowledged, hasn't offered an apology, and hasn't improved their behavior whatsoever, how is she still how does she still have supporters? How does she still have people sending her gifts? Saying nothing is an act of complicity. You're an enabler. You're a racist supporter and sympathizer. And you're a racist ally. Because the thought that you know exactly what's been said and done by that family and you continue to support tells me that I need to stay as far away from you as possible because you have no respect. Now I'm going to add my DDS thoughts in this moment because I think that everything fits together in this moment. So first I want to say that I think everybody who supported me through this past weekend and on Monday, it meant the world to me. But what I wasn't trying to do, imply, suggest that anybody over there was racist. I was trying to get you guys to understand my feelings, how hard it is, and how instead of hesitation and shock, to speak up immediately, even if you're the only person in the room. So, for anybody who called Skittles racist, please don't do that ever again. Because that label can ruin someone, especially if it's not true. And what's so interesting is just weeks prior, I went into their room and defended every single one of them against a woman who was calling them racist because their coverage of cake. Most people don't know that. I was there for 20 minutes trying to get this woman to understand that nobody on that panel was racist and that she's just here and on one because she wants to be. So I in no way, shape, or form intended to imply to anybody that I was calling them racist. See, people say that I've done this over and over again. And yes, I see life through my experience as a Black woman. And what people don't seem to understand is that I have to witness it every day. Think about it. We have Becky. We have Sheena and their families. We have Timothy Crawford, Ty Verbo, Alexander, Tank Lip and his supporters. And people want me to cover them while I have to sit there and take in their racism. Well, that might not bother anybody else. After a while, it gets to be too much. And so for me to hear that people were paying him to do it or trolling him into doing it, and that people thought that it was funny, I didn't want to hear anymore, so I left. And I take nothing from Skittles being upset on Monday, because that kind of a barrage, that kind of accusation, I understand. But what people didn't know was I cried all weekend out of sheer frustration and hurt. I just didn't do it on TikTok. I was just resolved to leave. And so I want to show you a video. I'm going to try to set it up properly because I want you guys to understand what, as I stroll TikTok looking for scammers, what I come across. So let's see. Will it play it? Hey guys, okay, it will. Let me see something. Okay. This is from the account My Name Chef. Okay? Hopefully you can see it all. Let me see. I'm going to show you this TikTok account, and I'm going to show you a couple videos from this account, and you can do what you will with that information. Hey guys, Mr. Beast Bar here. Today I've gathered 5 Snicker slaves, and whoever can last the most weapons wins their freedom. Hold on. Start again. Hey guys, so I'm going to show you this TikTok account, and I'm going to show you a couple videos from this account, and you can do what you will with that information. Hey guys, Mr. Beast Bar here. Today I've gathered 5 Snicker slaves, and whoever can last the most weapons wins their freedom. Oh, you lose. All right, next contestant. Bring him out, bring him out. Please, I have a family. Snicker. Come on, come on. Come to the Snicker auction. Come get your Snickers. Hard-working Snickers here. You know, hard-working after a little licorice whipping. Come on, come on. Hey, why is that one full price? Him? He's a hard worker. That boy can pick cotton candy like the wind. Anyways, do what you will with that information. Hey guys, so I'm going to show you this TikTok account. I show that to show you that that's constant on this app. As I stroll through, it's constant. And I know that it's real easy for other people to swipe by. It's real easy for people to tell me to ignore it. It's real easy to say to me that if I can't handle a word on the internet, I should get off. Or to tell me to toughen up my skin. But I want to know how many of you would be able to do that if it was you and your heritage and what you look like that you can't change. It's real easy to tell me what I should do when you aren't sitting in the seat that I'm sitting in. Right. Our accounts and our videos will be taken down. I could lose my reporting function for reporting it, but TikTok will leave it up. Now, they might have taken that one down, MagaGirl, are you asking for the box? I'm not sure. Just let me know. I don't need for anybody to be sorry for me. Okay. I just want people to understand the depth of what goes on this app that you might miss. It might not go on your timeline. So by the time Friday came, it wasn't just Friday. It is the culmination of me having to listen to scammers and their families be racist. Watch racist stuff happen on this and not get taken down, having to deal with racism in real life. At some point, you're ready to explode. And instead of exploding, instead of losing my grip, my initial reaction was to just walk away. And through the encouragement of people who love me in real life, and the encouragement of a very small group of people, 7 in fact, I chose not to leave because I had a bigger purpose. So that was the point. If you see it, say something. Don't sit there and be quiet waiting for somebody else to say it. And I thank Sydney wholeheartedly for jumping in the box and calling him out. Have I seen the rest of the video? No. Because I don't necessarily know that I could take it. I'm going to be honest. I don't necessarily want to have to listen to it again. I appreciate that after I left, people stood up and told him he was rotten for doing so. And my understanding is he tried to backpedal. But I couldn't stay. I couldn't. I'm sorry, MagaGirl.
Oh, that's fine. No, this just hurts my heart. My grandson is biracial, and this is kind of all new to me. And I don't want this to come. I grew up in a town that was all white, and this just hurts my heart that people are like this. I just don't understand. And I want it to all go away so that my grandson, who is the heart of gold, never has to experience that, but it doesn't seem to be going away.
It's getting worse. It's
And
getting
he's like I mean, he's 5. You go to his daycare or his kindergarten class. He's everybody's friend, and he's just so happy all the time. I don't want him to ever lose that part of his life. And I feel that older he gets, he's going to have to deal with that. And as a person of Caucasian, I don't know how to help him deal with that. And that hurts me because he's always coming to me, grandma, and I don't know how to help him get through that kind of stuff. It almost makes me cry.
Yeah, I can understand that. The best thing to do is to educate yourself.
That's what I'm trying to do right now is by listening to you and all the I just can't believe the stuff that still goes on.
And maybe I will do a raising the consciousness around it, because especially boys who are
And
black
like you were saying
predominantly.
stuff about what Becky was calling her grandsons that are, to me, is biracial the correct term? I don't know what else to say when
But
someone,
biracial is fine.
because that's kind of like the legal term, when you go fill out
Right.
something, it'll,
Biracial is fine. And but I had people, I literally had somebody in that chat call themselves a half breed.
that's terrible.
That's so disgusting. Why would you think it's okay to call yourself that?
I mean, the worst thing I call myself is if somebody asks me personally, I call myself a Euromut, but that's because my family's from England, they're from Germany. I don't know if that is offensive. I just say I'm a Euromut when someone asks me where I'm from.
Right. And I understand how you refer to yourself is
That's
how
my
you're
choice.
what you're right, what you're comfortable with. What isn't okay is somebody else to describe you that way.
Right. But it's just so hard when he's 5 and he's so happy all the time. And I know eventually.
Eventually it will go away, I promise. And there's nothing you can do about it. In fact, there's the documentary on Netflix about Colin Kaepernick
Yep.
would be a great place to start.
Okay. Yeah, because I know wasn't he he's the football quarterback
Yes,
that was adopted by a white family.
yes. And they couldn't understand because it's never going to be their point of reference.
My daughter's
And
made
they,
it a good like she'll like just for instance, I wouldn't know how to take care of his hair, but she does that. She goes and she's found somebody who does the hair cur I wouldn't know how to do any of that stuff,
uh-huh.
stuff
I
like that. But she's
understand.
taken on the opportunity to get his hair done correctly, and it sounds weird because if you normally you would just go to a hairdresser, but if you're
No.
different ethnicities, it's different. Your guys' hair is totally different.
Yep. The other thing is that he needs to know that his lineage did come from kings and queens. W- Africa
Okay.
wasn't always a third
Oh
world
no, not at
area.
all.
We were kings and queens, and that's our lineage. We didn't start as slaves.
Unfortunately, my daughter doesn't have any relationship with the father, so we
Yeah,
really don't have that much contact with that side. So eventually, I know that's another question that's going to come up is he's going to want to know, but that's going to be on her more than me. So, but I'm just trying to learn for myself when he comes to me with questions later as he
I
gets older and
understand.
stuff.
Make sure he knows that his hair is beautiful, that his
Oh
skin is
yeah.
beautiful, that he doesn't have to be ashamed. But there's also going to become a point where you're going to have a conversation, or she will have to have a conversation with him that recognizes that he's different and
Yep.
that the world is going to see him differently. So when he's approached by police officers, he needs to not keep his hoodie on, not ignore them like his friends can. Take his
It's
hands out of
so
his
it's
pocket.
like so my one grandson, so he's biracial, so he's predominantly more black. And then my other grandson, who's a couple years, he's blonde and blue eyed, but yet they are, you would think they're more brothers than cousins. So
Right.
they're always going to be in the same school. They're always going to be together, and that's going to be hard too to always say, yeah, we're cousins. My my mom and his like what am I trying to say? My son and daughter, so they'll be full blooded first cousins, but they're more like brothers because everybody's in the same house and all that. But yet they're totally opposite of each other. So it's going to be hard on my other grandson too because he's going to want to always defend him. So it's always going to be a little bit of a battle.
Of course it is. But you aren't the first, you
Nope.
won't be the last, and
Nope.
there's a
Exactly.
lot out there. But just understand that at some point, you're going to have a conversation with him about the fact that the world is going to see him
Yep.
based on his skin color, not his character, not what a good boy he is, and that he will be seen with suspicion first.
That's terrible. I can't believe that. Yeah, I know. You see that.
So it's a lot, and there's a lot, and like I said, it's giving me the idea to do some raising the consciousness
I appreciate that. I think
about
there's a lot. I'm not the. I know I'm not the only one in this conversation probably that
right,
has biracial grandchildren or children. I'm just
right,
on the older side of the. We are on the older side
right.
of some of this conversation, but
Correct. And there are actual conversations that happened on what people refer to as black talk with interracial children who
oh,
were raised primarily in a white dominated household and area,
so
and
maybe
how
like
they feel like they didn't even understand the other half of them. It's like their other half didn't exist.
so how do you find that? Like go up to like the subject bar, maybe like do biracial
Yep.
children or something. Okay,
Biracial conversations.
okay. That might be something. I always say people always like telling me I'm like really into TikTok. I said, but TikTok is there's a lot to TikTok that people don't realize. There's a lot of educational stuff. It's almost like a YouTube sometimes.
Absolutely. Listen, not every part of TikTok is bad.
No,
There's
not at all.
always good. There's always going to be bad where there's good, but there's plenty of good on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And I suggest, and one of the reasons why I suggest movies and documentaries and stuff, because they're less confronting. You get to do it in the privacy of your own home. You get to react, to understand, to learn at your own pace. And it's easier than reading something. So, I have a few things in mind. For instance, also on Netflix, watch the Central Park Five.
Okay.
Watch the movie, which it actually is a series. Watch the series first, and then watch the documentary with the boys themselves.
Was that the one that was in Central Park?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And you get to see how black children can be treated in the country, because they weren't men, they were children.
They were like 13, 14 years old, weren't they?
Some of them, yes.
It's sad. But I'm gonna drop down. I just wanted to.
Okay.
I think that'll be a good thing if you have a
I sure
conversation. I
will.
think that would be awesome. All
I
right.
sure will.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Judith, did you want the box? Yeah, Granny Annie, it's very the documentary, the Colin Kaepernick documentary was the first one that I mentioned. Because you get to see the struggle between parents who love him desperately but do not understand. What did Fergie say? Fergie, listen, I understand we all have a political stance, and everybody has the right to them. But that's not what we're here for. Let's not attack each other in this room. It's okay. I understand. You feel strong about it. Okay, I have a Judith and a Kels that are asking for a box. Are you asking for the box? I know, but Fergie, it came off like an attack. Okay, I'm gonna assume. Oh, Kels does want the box. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say that I have all my children are biracial, and my granddaughter have beautiful children. Granddaughter, um, you know what? I am so sick of all these racist people. We're talking about Becky's family. Like these people need to be off this app because I mean, for them to use the N word, admit that you're racist, blah blah blah. Do you know how many people that are affected by there's on this app, like I'm sick of it. I'm just saying my piece, but I am really sick of it. It's sickening to me, and I'm gonna tell you what, they wouldn't be talking that mess where I'm from. Like you would not
Correct.
be talking that mess where I'm from, where I grew up. Yeah, and there's a special place in where for these kind of people because it's absolutely sickening and disturbing. And my children are all biracial, half black and white. They don't say the N word. They were not brought up that way. I mean, they'll put you in your place. You better believe that, but they
Right.
don't. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
you like if you have an opinion, keep it to yourself. But to openly admit that you are, and not to like even excuse it in your household, like you need to be canceled. Like they need to be gone off this app. Like I'm
I
done.
agree.
I'm
The
sick of it. For Sheena, I know you're getting ready to. She's I thought her talking to dogs, people saying to get a life, knowing she's battling cancer was the lowest low. But then
Yep.
to see, but then to hear her openly admit you're racist, like girl, there's a special place in H for you and your family. I'm not talking about her daughter River because her daughter River seems like she's a very sweet girl and she's affected by this as well. But y'all need to be gone. Need to be gone and whoever else wants to join them. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care if you're in here. If you support Sheena and you're in her chat, you support Becky, you're in her chat, and you're agreeing to it, your ass needs to be gone too. Period. That's all I'm here to say. I'm just preaching this morning. That's what I'm saying. I'm preaching
Sometimes that's
facts.
what's necessary, and I appreciate you
Because people
saying
are on there saying, "Oh, well, I am too." Okay, well then you support her. You need to go right with them. You need to go right with them. Like
right.
seriously, like no. Mm-mm. But that's all. I'm sorry. Just wanted to say my peace of mind. And there's a lot of people. I'm part of Sheep Show, but I also still, there. Even though I'm with them in that group, there's, I still love people. You know what I'm saying? I love
Right.
people. But if you're one of those people, I have no use for you. And there's a special place in hell for people like you all, period. And that's all. Thank you for letting me up.
Of course. I want to say this so I don't forget. Do you know how to get down?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to say
Mhm.
this. I can't make you do it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the group. I'm sorry. Um, if you sent her a message calling her a racist, or if you made a post, take it down. And if you wrote her, please apologize. I can't make y'all do it, but what I said was misinterpreted, and the focus was on people walked away thinking that the focus was me calling or saying that, suggesting that they may be racist. I did not intend for that. And again, I appreciate everybody's support, but y'all know I have tough skin. And if I thought somebody was a racist, I'd say it. Y'all don't ever have to worry about me inferring. Oh no, yes, I'm addressing Skittles, not Becky. Her and I have spoken. I went in there live yesterday because remember, just a few weeks before, I was defending them. So there's no way I was going to turn around a couple of weeks later and be like, oh, they're right. No. I just wanted the reaction to be immediate. There's another documentary I especially want women to watch. I can't think of it right now, but when I do, the raising the consciousness about it, I'll let y'all know. So, let me do the raising the consciousness that I had planned for today. So, TikTok is constantly updating their community guidelines. I feel like they update them faster than we can understand them. And yeah, 12 Years a Slave is another one. It's sad. But it's funny because in some respects these guidelines seem to attack us. And this is summaries, okay? These are summaries. But some of what they do, I think we can use to our benefit. So give me a few minutes to run through this. So the recent 2026 coverage indicates that TikTok has tightened rules around live streaming, commercial disclosures, AI generated content, and off platform promotion, though some third party reports vary in specificity. Now, we're going to talk about live streaming and posting. The next time, I'm going to talk about AI. Because TikTok's own guidelines are the authoritative source and are updated regularly, the safest reading is that creators should expect stricter enforcement around misleading, manipulative, or undisclosed promotional content in 2026. For a creator account, that means clearly labeling ads, avoiding deceptive AI media, and staying careful about live behavior and gifts. So the practical takeaways are that we have to avoid hate, threats, sexualized, graphic violence, scams, and impersonation. We need to disclose sponsored or promotional content clearly. We need to label AI generated or synthetic media where required to avoid misleading edits. And I think just putting AI as a hashtag might not be enough going forward. And to treat live and comments carefully, since those areas are actively moderated too. Now, most of these things are moderated using their AI platform. And so when there's always the potential for risks when they're using their AI program to determine what's what. And that's where I think a lot of the kinks are, because I've been hearing about all these accounts people are losing. And I told you about the strike I got for no reason. So, live conduct. TikTok's live rules prohibit content that falls under the platform's broader safety bans, including nudity, sexual exploitation, violence, harassment, hateful behavior, scam, spam, impersonation, and misinformation. This is where it gets good for us. It says the platform also appears to be cracking down on attention seeking distress. Tactics in lives such as using crying or emotional manipulation to get gifts or viewers. In practice, that means streams should feel genuine and not structured around pressure, deception, or shock baits. Some new words to put in when we're reporting: that they are using attention-seeking distress by crying and emotionally manipulating to get gifts and money. I'm going to post this, but yes, screenshot. Remember that attention-seeking distress, because we know they're good for that. Promotion limits. This is another one. 2026 reporting says TikTok is tightening off-platform promotion during live, especially anything that pushes people to external websites, social apps, QR codes, contact info, or checkout flows that bypass TikTok. What's her name with the nails? Carrie? What about people sending people to their CAs and PPs? Because you're asking people to leave TikTok. Now, this talks about TikTok commercial content now needs clear disclosure so product demos, affiliate style pitches, and brand deals should be labeled properly. The general pattern is keep viewers on platform and make sponsorships unmistakable. So again, they are bypassing TikTok's promotional limits by sending people to external websites like GFMs and payment apps. So imagine somebody crying and asking for money on their CA. Here's another one. Content style rules. TikTok Live is moving toward requiring active human presenter style streams rather than static or low engagement broadcasts. The third-party 2026 guides also warn against long stretches of slideshows, shout out to me, silent screens, or pre-recorded looking sessions because they can be treated as poor quality or misleading live behavior. For creators, that means talking to viewers. Who ignores her chat when they don't give her gifts? Responding to comments. Sheena. Showing real-time activity and staying on the declared topic. Wait, was that it? Hold on. So, this is the checklist. You got to be at least 16 to host and 18 to receive gifts. Keep streams real-time, interactive, and clearly human-led. Avoid sexual content, violence, hate, scams, impersonation, and misleading claims. Disclose sponsored or promotional content clearly. Do not use distress, manipulation, or off-platform redirection to farm gifts or traffic. Now, I have plenty more to share about their guidelines and where TikTok is going. But there was so much, I couldn't do it all in one session. So I thought, since they want to talk about all of the things that we're doing wrong that violate them, that we now know some new things to say in our reporting style. May give it a try. I want to move on to Rachel. These are the names of her accounts now. Glitter and Ganja BB, which is the yo-yo and hot dogs, which is now a private account. And the new name, Baby Chungus, Loving My Life 2222. Now, I told y'all the other day that I didn't even scratch the surface. Like, I was still at a surface level. But every day, something new comes out that confirms that not only was she just like a TikTok scammer asking for money, this is her lifestyle. And I don't mean just begging on TikTok. I mean taking advantage of any and everybody she can. Now, there are two accounts, one being Chungus_Rachel, and another one is Rachel Janice Francis. They are reporting, or I should say posting, many of the things that have been found out since the group got together and started deep diving. And as usual, one of the things that's come out is that she is reaching out to people behind the scenes and asking for money, not telling anybody else she got the money, and still begging for like a room in the Airbnb. So just like the rest, she was double dipping. And then, using manipulative language about keeping it to yourself. Don't share this with anybody. Because I said to y'all a few weeks ago, when she came back from New Mexico, she was talking about how she had savings and that she spent too much of it in New Mexico. And my question was, how? How do you have savings? How do you have a penny in savings? Because if you had a penny and the Airbnb cost $59.59, somebody should have only have to give you $59.58 because you should have used your penny. But this was why, as they always do. They're able to convince people. One woman claims that she gave her $100 4 separate times. So she's known when she's going to have the Airbnb. She could have went and gotten a job. This was a choice. But the thing that got me the most was a conversation that somebody had with Raul, the ex that she claimed broke her heart by cheating. Now, I'm not going to say Raul didn't find another woman, but that wasn't a part of the conversation. Raul wanted to make it clear that he had to get away from her, that she was dangerous to him. She was the one who called and had him committed to the psych ward. So all that, she didn't know where he was, and she knew exactly where he was because she made the phone call. He went out to get them something and she made the phone call, and all of a sudden he's surrounded by police. She did that. That's manipulation. Her children are not in Mexico. They're in foster care in the Chicago area. She had them committed for 5 days, Melissa. Yes, her children are in foster care in Chicago. So all of this, she can't speak to them because they're with the grandmother and the internet. All lies. She can't have contact because of her charges. But she has tried to communicate with, I think it's her oldest, because he's in foster care alone. And she's trying to convince him to be with her. The whole I'm pregnant, she couldn't be. She had lied to him about that several times. Turns out she might have had a procedure to prevent her from having children. Why? Because he was in a doctor's appointment when they said so. So the whole I'm pregnant. I can't believe he left me. Look at what my body has to go through. This is why I need an Airbnb to rest. I need an Uber because my body with this baby I have to protect. All lies. And she knew it. Like I said, when I was talking about the nonsense she was doing on TikTok, I didn't even scratch below the surface. I was still on the outside of the epidermis, scratching and scratching and scratching and not even getting anywhere. Really? So then she tried to say that the women who asked for their money back, after realizing that she had scammed them, she's now running around the app telling people that they're trying to extort her out of money. Girl, you manipulating people to get the money in the first place is the crime. Not them wanting their money back. So now she has a new enemy and a new target, and it's the group of women that have had enough, that open their eyes and realize something isn't right here. She says she's got a federal case against you. Melissa, like I said, the last thing Rachel is doing is going and interjecting herself in any police, federal agency, none of it. She's not going there. Are you kidding me? Not when she has open cases. That's fear mongering. But let me show you what she did, because again, I thought it was cute. This is the AI post that she made in Spanish, as if we couldn't figure out what was being said, about those of us who she knows are after her. Or after her for her behavior, not after her personally or physically or emotionally, but just out to expose her lies, her deception, her manipulation, so that other people don't get taken advantage of. That is the point. I don't care if you stay on TikTok. Be successful on TikTok. Make all the money in the world you can on TikTok. Just don't do it by manipulating other people into believing that without them, you would be what she often, that's the other thing. She often threatens to unalive herself when stuff gets hard. And that's one of the reasons why he didn't break up with her so many times, because that's what she would threaten. That's weaponizing mental health. Disgusting. But I decided to do a little gander. So this was supposed to be about me. She called me La Dig Deck. And then I can't read, I'm not even going to bother to try to read the Spanish. But what she called me was the queen of the garbage dump, or queen of the trash. You're right, I'm queen of the trash because I cover the trash. Absolutely right. But I thought, it's okay, Kanye, you never have to apologize. Wait. Okay, I must have downloaded that twice. Here's the whole thing. So at the very top, it says, watch out, here they come. And then the title says, the Stinkalosa Squad. Girl, nobody cares. And so these are the characters. Again, another colloquial term is the trash diva. That was me. Queen of the garbage dump. The witch of the neighborhood. Little stinker. The crazy one and her dog. My thing is this. Why did you do it in Spanish? And let's go back to, hold on. Ooh. Hold on. I can't even see what it says at the bottom. It says, you think I have it bad? Just wait until you are behind bars. For what exactly? I want to know. Rachel, for what exactly? I'll wait. Girl, you better hope that they don't put everything together on you. Last person. No, I have two more. Kristina. So I can't tell if Kristina is in a different apartment or not. It seems like it, or it could just be that she's going live in other parts of the house that I didn't see before. I can't tell, to be honest. But a couple of things happened in her lives recently and her posts that verify a few things. The other day when I was having a conversation with he shall not be named Colton Lexus, I said to him that you are making the assumption, because you don't consider yourself somebody who should be covered, that everybody else is innocent as well. Well, CL, we have Exhibit A. She, in her live the other day, said with her full chest, I used to scam like crazy on this app. I used to take advantage of people like crazy. Out of her own mouth. So what would you say about her? Would you say to us, well, ignore her, it's adults giving her money, mind your business? Because how would you feel if Grandma Dawn, in her kindness, gave to somebody that was in fact willing to scam her? How would you feel? That is who I'm focused on. I repeatedly talk about similar people so that people can find the red flags. So the next person they run into, their spidey senses go off. To prevent people from being taken advantage of when they see big eyes and tears. Or you see somebody dressed head to toe in Louis Vuitton, but they're claiming that they're homeless and they need your money. But this is the thing for us that disturbed me. Let me show you. So she made this post showing the weather that was going on at the time. But this is what she did that bothered me. She tagged it she tagged it to her old account with Caden. There are two of them, and they are both shared to this account. Why? And we already know they're talking on the phone. Because he calls her 35 times, she'll ignore him. But believe me, when she's off camera, she's talking to him on that phone. Why should anybody fund her life when she is clearly taking some of the money she's getting, whether it be by gifts or direct donations, to be able to put money on Caden's books so he can call her? And nowadays, with the advent of the internet within prison walls, are they communicating via TikTok? But we make it all up, right? We're mean people. How many times have we gone in and tried to assist this young lady? Her own family and people who cared about her spent hours getting everybody in place to get to her, to take care of her, because she said she was going to unalive, just to get money out of people. She tried to damage the reputation of her own family member by lying. And so I'm trying to understand why what we do is hateful, inciting violence, etc. But there should be no consequences for the people that are actually taking advantage of people on TikTok. Somebody has to explain to me why that's right and what we do is wrong. I don't know. I don't understand it, but I'd love for them to answer it. So that's all I had to say for today. Since we have time, the boxes are open. Yes, she has to be out by the 9th. Let me change this. I couldn't find it at first. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize. How could I forget this? Sheena and her fake outrage is again nothing but manipulation. How do I know? Because what she says to her team is, they're over there saying that you guys aren't throwing as much for me. So let's get these gift goals. Let's fill this gift gallery. They don't even know what I do in my real life. They don't even really know me. They don't know what's happening, but they're going to say that. And people were like, they really said that? And she was like, I wouldn't lie. Sheena, show the proof. Show the proof. Now, am I saying nobody said that to her? They could have, because it is slowing down. And I find that beautiful for her. Sheena, show the proof. Because I don't believe anything that comes out of your mouth. So she is outraged that somebody put out her tax lien, which is again public information. For me, I didn't even put it out, but for me discussing it wasn't meant to embarrass you. We all already knew you owed tax money. But here you're mad at creators who you think don't like you and you don't like them. Where is the vitriol for your sister coming in here, giving us an accurate number and talking about how bad it is for you in the city you live in? Nobody likes you. They are literally putting petitions together on you in your community. And you're worried about people showing how much you owed at the time? Because the number is, what did she say, 61 or 66? I'd have been happy that people thought it was 41. But I don't think she was actually outraged by that point. I don't think she was outraged. I think she used it for manipulation to try to get more money out of her supporters. 110%. But I also think she's angry because she's selling things. And we know she's not reporting jack diddly squat because she has no business license by which to sell them. Ooh. But girl, you're selling them on a public platform, doing business as Sheena Sweetser. That's how it would look on your taxes. That you made money by selling art that you did will be considered income for doing business as your name. See, she talks about people who think she's dumb, but she's not. I'm not calling you dumb. I'm calling you uneducated about how the world works. You have sat in this pod that is insular. So that your husband tells you that Jesus was gay and you believed it and ran with it. She isn't curious at all about anything unless it's about how to get more money on TikTok or figuring out a new hustle. What you don't want is anybody at the state to let them know that you're back to selling products on TikTok. That is what you're mad about. Because truthfully, the state can then come in and take that income to cover the tax lien. You want to avoid getting caught? Don't do it on TikTok. And how deceptive is it that people are buying you the equipment? Have you seen her setup lately? You would think she was a professional architect. With the high table, the chair, the backlight, the little container that has all of the pieces in it, the pen after pen, the extra wax. I saw her the other day. Now it's a magnifying glass. She just got a new pen. Right, Rockin'. I was like, okay, is this the dining room? Like, where are we doing all of this? In one breath, she's saying that the haters are lying about taking credit for the reduction in her gifts that she's upset that they're taking credit, right? She then offers an explanation. She says it's probably because of how expensive life is now for her supporters. Literally what she said, which I've been saying for forever, so that actually makes sense to me. But then in the very next breath, Sheena is like, what I need is such and such. I need 4,000 diamonds. She complains about only making $20 the day before. And then tried to play it off. Like, I didn't even care. I didn't get upset. I didn't this and I didn't that. No, you switched to diamond art. That's what you do when you don't get the money you want. But if you are conscious of the increase in prices for the people who support you, why are you still begging them so that you can make money? Really? The Glory we all know Glory got blocked? That feels like justice. Can somebody explain? And at one point, people were helping her with the battle. But then she started saying stuff like, can any of the people who can send me big gifts that are in the back room or in the back, can you start sending them? Sheena, do you think their bills didn't go up? Just yours? She wants to know why we care. Why do I care? Why do we care? See, Sheena, there are millions of people on this app that ask for gifts, that battle, that we never discuss. We discuss you in particular because of your methods over time, including your manipulation right now. You want to conveniently gloss over the things you've done to manipulate, like sending people money so they gift you, like acting surprised when someone comes in at the last second and gives you the absolute gift you need in the amount you need to maintain a fragment. You manipulate the people in your audience now into believing that they are hurting people in another life. They aren't hurting them. They don't get crushed every time you get money. Their wings don't get clipped every time somebody gives Sheena. It doesn't even matter. What Sheena's mad about is that other people are getting more money than she is while she's live. Sheena, you're covered because you treat the people in your chat like trash. Really little bit. Correct beautiful things. That's part of her racism. She actually is upset that people will go in and essentially hate gift them just so she loses. And when Sheena loses, it's not fun. And when it's not fun for Sheena, Sheena takes it out on her audience. Just long enough so that she can go back live again and expect gifts. Be better, Sheena. Stop being a bitch to the people who support you. Stop ignoring your chat. She believes that being racist is okay in today's climate. There is so much racism happening around us that most people are able to block out and ignore because it doesn't affect them. I wish I could for a day. And again, anybody who is sitting in there, you are complicit in her behavior. You are a racist sympathizer because they like to separate themselves and say, I'm not racist. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying you support a racist, which means you are one of their sympathizers. You have chosen to see past their racism because it doesn't affect you. Sheena, I told you that I was going to stay on your neck until you took a break. It is time to take a break because you need to reevaluate your value on TikTok because it has diminished significantly. But I'll let everybody else eat you up while I talk about you 3 days a week and encourage people to avoid you like the plague because you are just some innocent person who needs everybody's help. Because in your mind, sitting there doing diamond art and ignoring your chat is you working. It's not. Anybody could do it. They could train a monkey to do it. Your presence means absolutely nothing. And with that, I will leave it there. Correct, TikTok Bear. Thank you, Laura. Okay, it is open mic. We have 15 minutes. The floor is open. And depending on how many people want it, we may have to be brief. But it doesn't look like anybody wants the box. It's so funny. I'm like, let me leave time for open mic. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, I saw the regurgitated post from last year. I don't care. So don't y'all worry about it. Thank you, Justine. It was pretty. Thank you for the gifts, guys. I don't care. Boxes are open. Oh, I didn't do a cake recap. Sorry. Maybe another day. Anybody who wants the box? Okay, hold on. I can't remember who asked for the box. Okay, she must not have. Yeah, I heard that
I heard.
Kate was talking about that. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to point something out. Yesterday in a live, a creator had encouraged people to report someone to the Department of Public Welfare. There are new regulations with the welfare, and this person would not qualify for welfare because they do not have a child in their care and they do not work at least 1 day a week or volunteer. Those are the new regulations. If you are single with no child, you either have to currently work 1 day, at least 1 day, or volunteer at least 1 day. Okay, that's
Correct.
so. And my other thing is about calling the Department of Welfare. Right now, it is the end of March. People are trying to get their life heap. Uh, and in my state, Ohio, we've had a horrible winter. And the welfare department is really bogged down trying to get these applications through and help people get their heating paid for so that they have a more reasonable bill going forward. So like I get that people have good intentions, but when we bog down a system, we hurt other people that really really need it, if that makes sense. That's all I really wanted to say.
Absolutely makes sense. And thank you for saying so.
Yeah.
Because people need to understand it's not like it used to be. There are new rules that have come down from the federal government that the states can't do anything about because understand, welfare is paid 50% federal, 50% state. If the state loses the federal benefits, forget about the people who have already been cut off, it would take millions more off. So they had no choice but to comply because it became the law of the land.
Yes, and I appreciate you very much for you're very fair and you do not criticize people's appearance or I just appreciate the way you do your life.
Thank you. I so appreciate you saying so. And
I
I
have
intend to keep doing it that way.
I have a lot of respect for you as a creator.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very much, and that's all I needed to say.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming up. Do you
Thank
know how to
you.
get down?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you too. Okay. All right, a couple more people asked and then they went away. So if there's nobody else, I think Jordan Paul is live. So I know a lot of people want to get to that. So much love to you, Skittles. I'm not sure if you were in here for my discussion, but since I see that you're here now, again, I want to publicly apologize. I know some people suggested that I make a post, but it's my opinion that if I say the original thing live, the apology I give should be live as well.
So I set an alarm so that I could be here, but I fell back asleep.
I understand.
I'm on vacation and I finally feel better, and I wasted all of my vacation being sick, so I'm trying to get the most out of the next 2 days. I was told, I heard, I wasn't present. Like I told you in the DM, you didn't need to, but I appreciate it. Yes, everybody, we are all great. Everybody is fine. There is no issues. I know, Jama, I know, but you see, I have my account back too. I got my account banned at 3 a.m. last night.
Oh wow. Well, I did a little bit of a dive on, I haven't really done a dive on our side of it, but I did a dive on some of the things we can use to get them taken down. I don't know if it'll happen quickly or not, but the guidelines have been updated and they're allowing AI to determine, and that's one of the reasons why people are getting taken down. I reposted on my other account. I reposted somebody else's post. TikTok decided that they needed to take it down and they gave me a violation for reposting it. How am
Wow.
I supposed to know it's going to be taken down in advance?
That's just like me getting a strike on my account for something Cake said, but nothing was done to Cake, only to me.
Right.
Make it make sense.
It doesn't. And I
Exactly.
said when it came here that it was going to be the Wild Wild West, and here we are. I knew when
Wow.
it came to the United States that
Yep.
that would be the case. One
Yep.
other thing that I said, and I'm not sure if anybody told you, but what most people didn't know was just a few weeks ago, I was in your live defending you against the racist claim of somebody who watches Cake.
Yes, you were there indeed. You were, and you were up in the box, and you were disputing it. And I've done a lot of reflecting over the past 2 days, and I thought about that as well. And I very much appreciate you doing this, and all is well. And we all need to learn from the situation and move forward. Well, not all of us, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We can only do better by learning.
correct.
So,
Correct.
but
So,
I appreciate everything. I truly do. Guys, please don't gift me. I don't need them. I don't want them. I appreciate them, but I don't want them. But I hope everybody enjoys this. Is it Wednesday? Yeah.
yes, it is. I know the days run together, especially when you're on vacation.
Yes, I'm going to go, Granny Annie. I'm going to go and binge watch some WWE and be a nerd. And catch me on the interwebs later, you guys. And I appreciate all of you, and have a great morning.
I just got restricted. With 5 minutes to go, I got restricted for 10 minutes and I ain't even going to be here that long. Well, thank you for coming up. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And in honor of the fact that we are better together than we are apart,
Jama, catch me in my inbox, okay?
we're going to play the song Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'm going to pop down and listen. This ain't no, you guys have a good morning.
You too. Everyone, please hug your loved ones because tomorrow isn't promised. And please, please, please do some self-care today. I promise it'll be worth it. And if I don't see you in the streets, I will see you Friday morning, bright and early at 6:30 a.m. Thank you for being here.